Hello and welcome to Casting Roles, where a bunch of theater nerds and good friends play a little D&D. We're so happy that you joined us. Take a moment to subscribe to the show. It takes but a click and earns our unending thanks. Drop us a like and leave us a comment for Campaign 2. Our videos are uploaded here on YouTube every Friday, and we have tons of great content to explore. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the show. So last time, our crew of adventurers dealt with the aftermath of a battle in Samartaj, the revelation that Taj, a Leonin scout, was the Prince of Frost instead, a powerful Fey entity who is draining the slight magic found with all living things for some nefarious purpose. With the thanks of the Leonin chieftain Dejin and the scoutmaster Barik, you all restored your positive standing with the Leonin tribe. You then saw off the centaur Caduceus, bearing a letter from the chieftain explaining the manipulation of the Fae within the Leonin Centaur conflict. With new horizons in your future the coming day, you decided to spend one more night under the trees of Samartaj, and around a campfire, you each shared a secret of your past, building stronger connections within your own group before finally settling down for a night of rest for what may come in the morning. So as you all awake, the sun peeking over the horizon, a clear, beautiful, bright blue sky ahead of you for your journey. What would you like to do?
I make us all tea.
You make all tea. So everybody gets advantage on their first Constitution saving throw of the day.
Yeah, the tea.
Yeah.
You make the
Bonnie
best
makes
tea
you all
and do
breakfast.
that.
You don't get
Thank you.
anything, but
Just full bellies.
it's the thought that counts.
All right, so you gather your things and clean up your camp, drink your teas. The city of Samartaj is beginning to awaken around you, and you see the other people who are camped out under the trees kind of putting out their fires, kicking some dust into the embers that remain, and then heading out to business or anything else. But the day is yours and where you'd like to go from here.
Well, we were heading towards. Where are we heading towards? I forgot.
The Opal.
Yeah.
The Opal. Valley of the Opal.
The opal.
Okay, we were going to go. Okay, we weren't. Yeah, we sent the centaur off by himself. Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, ugh, I don't need your help. We're like, all right, bestie.
Didn't he just said that he could travel faster without you?
Goodbye.
There was a tone.
There was
There was a tone.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
That's
the tone.
Is there anything else we want to do before we head out?
Besides, just I might prep a couple of new spells I've been trying out, and I guess we're just on our way.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I would
Josh.
like to do a little wee I think Lucky does 2 separate routines, and it's starting to become more obvious, I think, to the group at this point, where it's this is the meditation and this is the prayer ritual. And I think I'll speed run both before we head out.
I like it.
Just whipping through the rosary.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Can I cast a spell before we go?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna I got sending, so I'm gonna cast sending.
Level 3 spells. Yay.
Hey, level 3 spells. I'm gonna cast sending to my mentor. And
Okay.
I'm like, no wait. Okay, let me send you a message.
Oh, okay.
And then but go ahead. We can go ahead with the I'll retcon it if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that on as you're walking too. You don't have to necessarily
Yes.
stop and do a ritual to send. All right, so you all kind of pack up your things and begin to head out towards the back to where Bonnie had parked the cart and get it ready for travel. There's a light wind, Bonnie, so you will be able to move a little bit in the morning before you get out into the open plains where you think that there might be a better wind. You all load up your things and around 30 minutes or so of preparation, a tall, familiar figure approaches you all, and you see Barak coming in your direction. He says, so I assume you all are off today. It's a beautiful day to travel.
Yes.
We just want to say thank you once again for your company.
That's very kind, Bonnie. Thank you for your company as well, and for everything that you've done for us.
Well, it's no biggie.
Are you making your pass to the Opal today?
We're gonna do our best attempt.
Well, it's been some time since any of our tribe has traveled there, but if the valley holds true, there is a saying that only those with pure heart may enter the Opal. So make sure you are not carrying with you any ill will towards any inhabitants there, or you might come across a problem.
Just no ill will towards the inhabitants. Nothing else that would disqualify one for being pure of heart, right? And Bonnie's gonna glance backward at Robin.
He says, well, it is...
to ignore that.
There are many of us who, in our younger days when we traveled there somewhat more regularly, partook in potentially young, stupid endeavors, and that did not seem to be a problem. But it does seem to be more of a protective measure, not a judgmental one.
Okay, well, I think we should be fine then.
All right. He kind of bows to each of you in doing the clasp of the scouting party's signature. He's recognizing you all in the same level that he would any of his other compatriots within the scouting party with this bow. And then he says, well, I must walk my young ones to school. Torch has a tendency to not make it there if I do not make sure he does. So the business of a father never ends. Please.
Bless him.
Come check in here before you leave the valley. We'd love to see you again. And he nods and heads out.
All right, Bonnie's gonna make sure everybody's stowed. There's no loose gear about to get hung up on an axle or something.
I'm literally picturing you picking us all up and putting us in the cart and stay.
There's no one else do anything else.
Like wrangling your children into a minivan.
Yeah.
It really, it's like by the time she finishes getting Endulocite on board, Lucky's stood up and is moving something near the front.
I will offer to
I'm turning this wagon around.
I'll offer to Bonnie to be up front for a second pair of eyes, if that's helpful.
Yeah, as we did with the before, Bonnie can't really see as much when they're working the kite, so it's helpful to have someone pilot. So as you all make your way out of town, Lucky, go ahead and make a perception roll for the first leg of the journey. Yeah.
Sorry, this was just on my sense, right?
And you all begin to pull out of the shaded area of the town under the trees, the kite unfurling as it begins to catch more air, and you move kind of smoothly through the outer edges of the forest until you're back on the open plain. And there is the left-hand path that goes back towards the gorge. Off to your right, further down, probably about a mile away, you see lower a massive lake at the lowest point of this valley, where all of the water seems to have collected and the herd of buffalo are gathered around there, drinking and eating among the fresh grasses of spring. But a path goes straight ahead that is clear, but something that clearly also hasn't been traveled much in more recent times and is slightly overgrown, but you can still see it. And it is heading towards the distant mountains, where you can see the curving mass of mountains coming around towards a central point where there's just a pass between them. And then what you can see is a broad open space beyond, before there's more mountains off in the distance. And you start heading in that direction. Lucky, what was your perception check?
16.
So as you go, you pick up on a few of the outer scouting parties of Leonin that are kind of hiding in underbrush or up in like lone trees or whatever, just keeping an eye on the area. And a couple that notice you watching kind of give you a nod as the others keep traveling through. But the journey is fairly inconsequential. This is a well-protected area because of the Leonin, and the path is mostly good for Bonnie's travels. There's a little bit of bumpiness to it just because it hasn't had cart travel or wasn't designed for more than feet to travel on it. But so it's a little rocky for you all, but you're able to move carefully. And about a couple hours just before, like 11 o'clock in the morning or so, you are approaching probably the halfway point between where Samartage is and that entrance to the valley. And now you can get a better sense of the area here. The mountains here are much taller than the ones at Makta. They are even now in the early spring coated with a white of snow at the peaks that kind of travels about halfway down to the tree line. And then there's a thick like deep forest that's kind of growing off the sides of it. The mountains are grayish and they have odd striations from the rocks formations here. But the valley beyond, like now you can get a better sense of what you're staring into. It just looks like an overgrown forest. You don't see buildings or anything from this distance or any sign of civilization.
Is there like any, not that I'm like, this is my specialty or anything, but can I sense any like magical energy or like any like crazy ley line stuff coming off of like this area?
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Mm-hmm. 14.
14. So you don't pick up on anything like where you are right now that is more or less weird than any other place in Highwall. But as you approach, like I'll keep that in mind that you're on high alert for that as you get closer to the mountain area. That's something you're paying close attention to. Anybody doing anything with this travel? It's about a 4-hour travel. So you've got a little bit of time if you want to accomplish any tasks that you can do while sitting inside of the cart.
Kieran would continue to carve on so we can get a second sword. Okay,
yeah, and I think after 4 hours, I think as the last time you had a full day left, so you've got 4 hours more and you'll be finished. Go ahead and make a dexterity check with your proficiency just to make sure you don't accidentally fuck it up.
And don't fuck it up.
16 plus 4 dex plus 3 proficiency for 23.
23, yeah. So you are making, getting close to just the honing and final phase. Like you think you've got the perfect shape, you've got all the curves in the right places and the edges, and it is looking the way you want it to look. It is now just the process of finishing, and that'll take you about 4 hours to finish, and then you will have a completed second sword.
Cool.
Excellent.
As you're working on it, Kieran, you're not like super in touch with anything. Go ahead and make a Arcana check.
Arcana plus 2. 12.
12. Now that you are getting to kind of the core of this piece of wood and you are shaping it in the way that you want it to, you're exposing more of those like lines of wood that are oddly, they look kind of stone, but they're still wood, right? They are giving off an energy that is not typical of wood. Just like the latent nature of your people kind of tunes into some magical essence. And you're getting the sense that while probably not like you're not creating a magical item by doing this, there is some quality about this that bears some magic, but it would take a more trained eye to discover that quality.
Okay.
I'm knitting.
Knitting? Okay. Is Andalus knitting anything in particular?
I'm making gloves for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just relaxing. He like, oh, and when he like gets in the cart, he's sitting in the cart and his glamour drops. He's just chilling. Like that. Wow.
Cool.
He's not walking.
Yeah. You're seeing the light forged construction of Andalus, the gem in his chest like slowly pulsing like a heartbeat, eyes blue and glowing as well, as they're working on their knitting.
Sometimes he shuts his eyes and just keeps knitting. The exact same.
Ravik or Bonnie, anything? Your Bonnie's driving the cart. Ravik, doing anything in your in your time? And Lucky, you probably can do a little bit. If there's anything in particular you wanted to work on or read or do, you could probably do that while keeping an eye out.
Yeah, Ravik, you go first.
I don't think Ravik has anything in particular that he wants to work on. Just keeping an eye out on the horizon as we're traveling. We need to bring some books, but I don't think Ravik will spend any time. I don't think that'll be his thing today.
Okay.
His focus today. Yeah. Just keeping an eye out.
Sure. Other things on Ravik's mind.
Lucky doesn't really read, so I think instead I'm gonna like just very casually be on my lyre. Just kind of like, not like practicing per se, but I think just like keeping the skill there.
Absolutely.
And just kind of, not a full jam session, but just something to entertain me and Bonnie up there.
Yeah. Unless your goal is to be impressive, I won't make you roll a performance check since you're just kind of
No,
strumming.
I'm always trying to be impressive.
Then roll a performance check.
Yeah.
Life is a performance, all right?
Yeah.
Like a true actor.
15.
15? Yeah, I mean, it is whatever you're playing, the ditties that you kind of start in the middle of and peter out before you grow tired and change to something else. It's like, but they are well practiced, and it is clear that as a child you were able to make money on the streets playing these songs.
Yeah. I think it's a weird mix, and like obviously harder to tell like if you don't know the songs without like lyrics, and like he's certainly not like singing, but I think it's a weird mix of like church like hymnals or like what like a youth group kind of like beat, and like just absolute like tavern jams, like borderline raunchy, like, you know, like perfect. I think it's just such a weird mix of the two.
And now here's Wonderwall.
Anyway,
here's Highwall.
Here's Highwall.
Amazing.
And now here's our God is an awesome God.
Get ready for a revolution.
If Bonnie recognizes any of the songs, she'll sing along with them. She's not very good.
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure.
I when Bonnie starts like noticing a song and singing it, I think instead of like Lucky like transitioning in and out of songs like very like weird, I think I will actually like play through that song for Bonnie when she recognizes one and let her get her full like performance out.
Fantastic. Bonnie singing as the kite goes, the sky blue, birds wheeling overhead, the sound of a lyre as you all truck the final couple hours to the edge of the mountains. The landscape here getting a little hillier as you're approaching the mountains, just kind of rolling hills that you're rising up and falling down into, very much like frozen waves in the landscape here. And then finally, about 2:00 in the afternoon or so, plenty of daylight ahead of you. You get to a point where the kind of a cliff face comes up and you can see it's like jaggedly rises up to the earliest and lowest of the mountains here on this crescent. And the pathway here, like where these mountains kind of come in, it's still like they're a mile or so apart from each other. It's a wide gap, but from a distance, it kind of closes in, and you can get the sense that if you were looking at this from an aerial perspective, it would be almost like seeing a super stylized crescent moon shape in the mountains here, with this valley wide and distant in the cusp of that moon shape, and it lays before you, and you can tell that after you pass through the mountains, it will drop down into this valley until it kind of reaches a bowl in the center, and then it goes further off and rises up into the mountains beyond. And there is beautiful trees. There are firs and deciduous trees that fill this area. Random wildflowers are growing around the entrance. The path does seem to kind of, once it gets to about the halfway point between the mountain cutoffs, the path seems to just diminish and fall away into the trees. But it does look like it once traveled into the valley and has since overgrown. But you are here at the edge of the valley, and you do not see, again, any structures or buildings, no talk of a tall, beautiful crystal tower. It's almost as if all of the stories that you've heard of the Valley of the Opal were wrong, or something has happened to the valley and all of those things are gone.
Well,
can I try to through any kind of like illusion here? I don't know if there's like a spell for that necessarily.
So I don't think that there is, but since you already
detect magic.
Detect magic would detect if there's any magical effects happening in the area for sure. I think see invisibility could potentially, like if there's something invisible present, but the detect magic would definitely tell you if there's some kind of like magical essence in the area.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do a little detect magic.
Okay. You all watch as you kind of stop here in this moment, and Lucky casts the spell, and their eyes have that tracing kind of light fire, almost like look coming off the edges as your vision suddenly lights up around you.
Yeah, and I kind of like wince for a hot second and then throw the glasses down.
Yeah, and there are magical items among your compatriots here. Now that you're seeing Andalus outside of his illusion, there's so much about Andalus that is giving off magical energy and essence. Like Andalus.
I think I positioned myself myself to be like, okay, get him out of the periphery.
Like you can
on the opposite end of the wagon.
Like in this vision, you can almost see like the tracing like weave of runes that are constantly shifting and traveling over Andalus's frame, but are invisible when you're not keyed into the magical nature. And you kind of turn away from the blinding essence of Andalus. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Is there, I don't know if I've ever done this specifically. Is there weird magic coming off of our friend Ravik here?
Weird magics? No. Aside from the magic items that he has, there's nothing like in much the same way that like Kieran and Bonnie have magical items on them that are giving off a magical essence. Ravik has the kind of the same energy. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. But you turn away from Andalus's kind of blinding frame and you are met with a additionally blinding view as the entire space between those two crescent mountain like shaped peaks is a wall of shifting runes where you see illusion and transmutation and abjurational magic spells weaving in and out of each other in some kind of beautiful geometry. And as you look, you can see that it's like a wall that rises up and then slowly curves off into the distance as far as you can see, almost as if there's a dome that's over this entire valley.
Okay. I think I like cast it and look around and go, ow, oh my, that was dumb. Okay. And then I think I would like to like get off the cart and start like, how far away is the like edge of this dome?
You guys probably stopped to, probably, Bonnie, how close to the end of the road would you have stopped the cart?
Probably quarter mile.
Okay, so you're you're that far away from where because the road ends, and you can tell that like that wall is right where the road ends.
Yeah, I think I'll describe to Bonnie like what I'm seeing here, and ask to get like a little closer so I can like get up on this thing.
I don't want the kite to hit it.
Yeah.
So I'll like reel the kite in.
Okay. You move slowly forward until you're probably 100 feet away or so. Lucky, close enough for you to kind of get out and inspect much more closely. And as you walk,
I want to touch it.
Okay, you walk up to it, and the spell lasts for 10 minutes, so it's still active. So you're kind of like shielding your eyes as you approach this like weave, and you can now see it's almost like what you saw were like these massive runes that were moving across the surface of this dome, like these different types of magical school runes. But now that you're closer to it, it's like the closer you got to the dome, the smaller those runes became. And you kept seeing the same runes going over each other. And then finally you kind of step back and look higher and you realize that it's like fractal patterns where like the runes are made up of smaller runes that are made up of smaller runes that are all telling the same kind of magical story. It's a beautifully crafted magical spell here. And you reach out to touch, and your hand like goes towards this massive magical structure and like physically passes through, and the magical runes are kind of like dancing around like your forearm, and you can see like translucently your hand on the other side, but the runes are not bothering you as you approach it.
If I step through it, what happens?
As you step through it,
No.
Do you bear
like list?
Do you bear any ill will towards the Opal based on anything that you've heard about them since the journey began?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you carry on your person anything that could be considered dangerous?
Define dangerous.
Yeah, define.
I'm letting the question exist, so Lucky can answer that how they would see.
I mean, I mean, it's pretty hard to not call a gun dangerous.
That's fair.
But I mean, like, if we're talking about like how you wield it, like Lucky's only using that gun in like absolute crisis. This is like people will die if I don't pull this thing out.
And I ask those questions in that way because those are the questions the spell is asking you as you step through. And like, it's almost like unbidden, the answers to those questions are kind of ripped from you. And there's a moment where you just see like coming off of your arm or your shoulder where you can see this like line of code of magical runes kind of rising up, and they're inspecting for a moment. And then you just see them get eaten by the rest of the fractal pattern, and you step through and nothing happens.
I turn around to the rest of the group and
do we see Lucky, or do they vanish?
No, Lucky, the moment Lucky stepped through is gone.
Oh, okay. I don't know this.
Yeah. Yeah, you look back.
But yeah.
Lucky, are you okay?
That's an interesting trick.
Lucky, you hear Andalus ask the question, and it's like,
Oh, then I walk back through.
Yeah, so you all watch as like slowly like Lucky's face and then the rest of their body appears coming through the illusion.
What's on the other side?
What you would expect. There's a magical dome around us to protect it, kind of like what Barak was talking about. It's to protect the Opal. So don't come in with ill will.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
All right.
Just remind yourself that if you dislike what the Opal has done, that perhaps a conversation is more warranted than action.
Josh, where we're at.
Yeah.
Are there like any trees or somewhere I could stash something? I could put something?
Yeah, there's a few random trees on the outside of the dome. Yeah.
As we're like kind of looking at each other, it's like, I have to go do something then. Well, I guess, do we know how the spell works? I'm trying to think. Let me roll a wisdom check. Let me see if you can piece this together.
And Lucky would probably struggle to explain it if you asked Lucky because it's a very complex working of arcane magic.
I think Lucky probably can't get out that it's asking you about dangerous objects.
Yeah.
I will roll a 14, so I think I do get the sense about that thing, Josh. So I'm gonna Gandulas kind of looks at all of you. He's like, I'll be right back. And I like tap my disguise so it comes back on. And I'm gonna go off towards one of the trees. And I'm gonna mark which tree it is, Josh.
Okay.
Somehow. in like Sylvan or something. And then I'm gonna, I don't know how big that thing is, but I'm going to like kind of cover it best I can.
Yeah, I mean, here. So Andalus, you take it out and you are wrapping it up, and you go to hide it. As you're doing that, Dottie goes, "Why do you have one of those?"
What do you mean? One of these?
Well, Ravik had one of those too.
Ravik has one as well?
Yeah, it's the offering he left by the Fey portal.
This is what he left by the Fey portal?
Yeah.
Was Dottie there? Because I feel like
Dottie specifically was keeping an eye on you during that moment.
And you didn't
because Andalus asked, "What did Ravik leave behind?" And Dottie went, "It was just a crystal."
It seems Andalus has one too, Ravik.
Yep.
But he left it there.
Yeah.
He's like standing there like very weird about it. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, we'll have this conversation with him later.
You don't know how the magic of this item works.
Nope. No idea.
And so like you didn't see Ravik do anything to the item when he left it behind. So
Sure.
you might now be under the impression that just leaving it in a space may activate the magic within it.
Shit. Hey, Ravik, can you help me with something?
Yeah, sure. I'm on my way. If you all will kindly excuse me. Dulisat probably has a loose bolt or something. I'll just go and see. What can I help you with?
I'm gonna use this interim, Josh,
Sure.
to try to walk through the barrier.
Okay.
Would a sword be considered a dangerous item?
Well, so I mean that's up to Bonnie's interpretation of the way that the magic is asking Bonnie questions.
All right. Okay.
The other thing about you, Bonnie, in particular, is Bonnie someone who is pure of heart?
I'll have an answer for you in the chat.
Okay. Well, what you can do for me is if the answer is no, I need you to roll a charisma saving throw.
Okay. I don't need to roll.
Okay. But if you, the sword, like having a like kind of the way that Lucky talked about in their own thinking about this weapon is a tool of defense. It is not a tool of delivering pain or suffering to other people. It is only used in the terms of I need to protect myself. So if that's how Bonnie views the sword, then it probably wouldn't set off the barrier.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's packed away in the oil skin in the chest in the wagon.
Yeah.
She hasn't touched it in a while. So
Yeah. So Bonnie can walk through just fine. Lucky kind of walked through and then turned around. Bonnie, when you walk through, you like are looking out into the valley beyond. And what you see, Bonnie, is in the heart of the valley, that kind of bowl at the center. One, the moment you pass through, that impenetrable forest becomes much more well maintained and fewer trees. So now you can see almost the entire valley laid out below you. There are at the center of the valley, there is a series of beautifully constructed buildings, most of stone and brick, laid out in a careful pattern, and with beautiful like cobblestone pathways that connect them. There are ornate gardens and towering hedges, blossoming trees, flowers of every color imaginable in places around this area. And the temperature immediately becomes like a comfortable 72 degrees. Like it is a perpetual spring under this protective dome, right? And immediately, like as you're kind of looking across, Lucky like probably saw it quickly, but then was like, I need to tell my friends, and like turned around quickly. Bonnie staring ahead at the heart of the valley beyond those ornate stone structures. You see a towering crystal tower, traveling almost as you can imagine up to like from this height, it seems like a mountain in itself at its height, but it is a tower that is made almost as it seems of pure glass, and the sunlight passing through it is scattering into hundreds of rainbows that are shooting across the valley and touching in various places. Off to the east and the west of that central structure, you see two smaller crystal towers, like hugging into the base of the mountains. And on top of all three of these towers, there are these impossibly tall crystals that are spinning and surrounded by rotating circles of crystal, and they are gleaming in a greenish color in the light of the day. And the last time you saw a green of that color was when light was shooting across the sky and hitting the frontier to shoot it down.
well, the Opal's got to be around here somewhere.
Right.
And she's going to walk back through the portal, and she's going to hitch up the wagon this time and pull it through the portal.
Okay.
Reeled the pipe in.
All right. Ravik and Andalus, you guys now reconnect over by the tree.
You come over, and I've got something kind of like wrapped. And I look at you, and I like unwrap it so you can see it. It's the same crystal you had earlier.
Where did you get that from?
Well, it seems like maybe a similar place you got one from.
Did you pick that up from where I left it?
No.
Or is this a different one?
Damn, that would have been a good lie if I was said that. No. This is one I was tasked with. Were you also tasked with one?
Tasks that I were given, I don't think that the individual would like me to talk too freely about it. But who exactly gave that one to you?
I'll only divulge if you divulge equal amount to me. That's how it works.
And do it. It's obvious you need some help. So if
that's not fair.
my help, just
I already owe you a
me
favor. I don't want to owe you anymore. But okay.
Just tell me what I need to know, and then we'll make sure we set you on the right path. I've got no reason to try to screw you over, right?
I gotta like narrow my eyes at you.
Should I roll a persuasion? I promise you, I won't use any of the information against you or to negatively impact you.
I mean,
Tell me who.
Josh, can you remind me exactly which one it was? I think it's on my thing.
Yeah. So when it was official that you were going to be part of the expedition,
And can I say I switched this conversation to telepathic conversation?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You were approached by it was a human man, kind of tannish white
put it in
skin.
the chat. Is that a thing?
I'll tell you. I mean, I don't care if everyone we can player knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, player knowledge, character knowledge. Yeah, tannish white skin, kind of business-looking man, and he was a representative of the mercantile.
Mm-hmm. It was one of the mercantile guild members.
Really?
Is that who yours is from?
That's interesting to know. Can I remember?
Yeah, the description that Andalus gives matches entirely the description of the person who approached you, Ravik.
Right. Well, Andula's side, telepathically, it's obvious that they decided that putting their eggs in one basket wasn't the best approach. So,
they probably didn't know who would get chosen, so made sure.
I wonder if there are other members on our expedition who were given a similar little trinket to take along with them.
I kind of think that it may prevent me from going through the barrier. So I was worried about bringing it through because if it's... But this also means that you marked that portal earlier for him.
Listen, if anything, I'm not worried about the Feywild being able to hold its own against capitalism. So let's just...
Robert, if you're...
No.
If all you're doing is marking it because you need money, I understand. That's why I'm doing it. Well,
I mean, I appreciate that. I don't feel like I have to justify my reasonings, but I
think you should. I mean, if it wasn't for the money, I definitely wouldn't be doing it. I don't think I would do that.
Well, that's a good reason, if any, in my book. But I don't. If you if you leave that here, then you might be marking the entrance to the Opal for this merchant group, and I don't think that's what you really want to do, Angelus. That, I mean, far be it from me to make the assumption.
If you hold it and you take it through, do you think that you feel like it's not a threat?
Oh, do I want to be fried by the invisible barrier? I don't think I want to risk it.
I'm just saying your perspective on it might be different.
My perspective is you were given a job and you agreed to do it. No one's getting hurt by you leaving a little crystal next to, say, a fey pool.
Hey, I'm naive, but I know they're not paying us to just leave a crystal, Ravik.
That's all it was, honestly. I mean, marking a spot doesn't mean that you're a harbinger of evil, okay? I think maybe you're overthinking it a little bit, and it was that. But if you want to be safe, I guess it's not activated, so maybe you can just hide it under a bundle of rocks and come back for it later.
Okay, I guess I'll take a chance on it.
But the fact that you know it's here just outside of the entrance to the Opal, I mean, is that gonna bode negatively towards your entering? Maybe we shouldn't think too hard about it.
I don't have any ill will towards the Opal at all. If the Leonin trusts them, then maybe they're trustworthy.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing I think that I could have that might be an issue.
I don't think it'll be a problem. Honestly, and do a side. Let's just cover it up real nice and good, and then cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Okay. I have Ravik help me cover it up.
Okay. You leave the item under the tree outside of the Opal's dome. Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is
nice. This is like doing your first crime with
oh, don't say that.
I don't want your cool uncle by your side.
I don't want this to be my first crime. I don't think I want to do a crime.
Listen, the only thing that makes something illegal is whether or not rich folks are able to get away with it themselves or not. Just don't put too much emphasis on it, okay?
Okay.
Let's just
we'll go back to the group.
this. Yeah, we'll come back for it later. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
And if they ask, you had a loose bolt in a sensitive area.
Had a what?
I just came to help you.
There are no bolts on it. There are no bolts visible anywhere.
They don't need to know that. Come on, now let's just go with the story. Go with the story. A loose bolt, sensitive area.
Ravik, I don't think I would ask you about bolt, but sure.
If anyone knows about sensitive area, come on, let's go back. Come on.
All right.
You're not good with medicine. I don't think that. We don't keep walking back arguing about this.
All right. So you rejoin.
I don't think that man's ever been to medical school.
That reminds me.
But he's played doctor before.
Brief aside: Paris was playing doctor with Amanda, and Paris said, "I need a doctor," and Amanda said, "Aren't you the doctor?" And Paris said, "Oh." that just reminded me of this moment so much.
I love
Paris.
Yes. All right.
That is hilarious.
So you're all rejoined, and the cart is approaching the barrier, Bonnie, with Bonnie pulling it. Lucky and Bonnie have already passed through the barrier, so it will not be an issue for you to make it through. Kieran, same questions. Do you bear any ill will to the Opal based on the stories that you've heard about them broadly? You all were told by one person that they're destroying the continent. You need to end them. And everyone else the Samartage have been like, they're pretty cool. So you've got conflicting opinions.
I think the question's open. So no ill will, just curiosity.
Okay. And is there anything on you that you would consider dangerous?
Well, my weapons are dangerous because they're weapons.
Okay. In the same vein.
But I'm not considering using them against the Opal for nefarious purposes.
Okay. So you, and then is Kieran someone who is pure of heart?
I think so. A little naive to the ways of the world, somewhat from having a privileged upbringing, but I don't think he's malicious in anything.
All right. So Lucky, Bonnie, and Kieran, you all walk through and you are fine. You feel the slight tingle of the magic almost reading you as you pass through. And Lucky and Kieran, you are the same vista that I described to Bonnie is spread out before you. And it is clear that this is a valley of great opulence and here for the Opal. Andalus, do you bear any ill will towards the Opal?
Nope. I think I genuinely feel not having that. I'm like, yes, I'm a chill guy.
Is there anything that you carry that is dangerous?
Nope.
Okay.
Now that I left that crystal, nope. Pure of heart, dumb of ass.
And you are pure of heart? Okay.
I'm waiting for Ravik to get yeeted all the way back to the ship.
As you pass through Andalus, you all watch as like Andalus walks through and the elven form just washes away as you pass through the barrier, and you're standing there in your full Lightforge self, and going to reactivate it, you can't.
It's awkward.
You get the sense that like illusion or deceptive magical practices will struggle to take hold here. So if you are a magic wielder and the school of magic within the Opal's realm, if you are within the Opal's realm and the school of magic says illusion, just let me know that you're casting an illusion spell.
Fun.
I don't think that's going to be a problem for almost anybody here, except for your disguised self, Andalus. Ravik, do you bear any ill will towards the Opal?
Absolutely not. If anything, Ravik is hoping the Opal will be able to help him with some of his issues that he's found himself facing.
Okay. Do you carry anything on you that is dangerous?
Do I carry weapons? Yes. Or I don't know if Robert would even consider his sea glass hilts weapons. They're more tools than anything in his mindset, but nothing that he would consider as a immediate weapon in an interaction with the Opal.
All right. And is Ravik... go ahead.
Yeah, the way they're described, Robert probably doubts that any weapons that they have would even be useful against a creature like the Opal.
Okay. And is Ravik pure of heart?
Ravik has his code and his reasoning for what he does. He would never screw over someone who he considered unfortunate or an innocent. And the people that he would screw over are individuals that he knows have done wrong to others. So I'd say he's pure of heart in his conviction and his moral compass.
All right. So as you pass through Ravik, you feel the tingle of magic, and suddenly the whole valley opens in front of you, and you see that crystalline tower at the centerpiece. And almost immediately there's like a flash in your head to a vision of a crystal tower filling with water, a woman falling away from you into the depths of the water. And then you flash back into yourself. It's the vision that you had on Mount Makta.
I'll say out loud, like, this is it. This is that vision I had, the vision during the ceremony. For the others to hear.
I didn't have a vision.
During the ceremony?
We all see the same towers, right?
Walking through.
No.
Oh. I just had a flashback to that moment standing on top of the mountain and this is it. This is exactly the tower that I saw. That's gotta mean something, right?
Any idea what?
I don't know. I just got here.
Did you get Andulicite's bolt back in?
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, he's surprisingly good with bolts.
Sensitive area. We don't want to.
Yeah, okay, let's
Embarrassing
let's
about it.
get better about that, I think. All right. We're
Very, it's
Exactly,
the sensitive area.
Very sensitive and on the side.
Very
Don't
sensitive.
all right, no need to overshare. I got it.
Okay. My bolt in my sensitive area, like, too loud.
All right, geez, I'm not gonna ask about the sensitive bolt in the area.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad no one's talking about it now.
So as you all kind of pull yourselves up, you're at the top of the valley heading down into the bowl. And there's just, I mean, you will pass by a immaculately preserved garden structures and hedges, and there's like, you know, there's a hedge maze and there's all kinds of things. Yeah, the road continues and is actually well kept. And it actually further into the valley, it turns into cobblestone like the rest. It is not it's not a yellow brick road, like a cobblestone road that then leads down into the valley and connects to with like the spidering webs of other roads in the valley that are connecting to all these other buildings and things. So once you get in, Bonnie, it'll be fairly easy for you to pull the cart along. As you travel, though, like everyone make perception checks as you move, because from your vantage point, you don't see people. But this is a very well manicured space, so clearly, like, there has to be somebody or something doing the manicuring.
16.
Ravik is completely focused on that glass tower. I rolled a 5.
Okay, 16, Kieran.
26.
Nat 20 for a 26.
Ooh, 26s.
Ooh.
12. Okay. Yeah. So Kieran and Bonnie, like, you are noticing all of the various like beautiful structures around, and like Kieran, like immediately, when the Leonin told you, like, asked if you lived in the valley, like, it makes sense now. Like the beautiful structures of the buildings here are very reminiscent to the mansions that you described, or the grounds that your family occupies in Eviosia. Like these tall, gorgeously constructed buildings. But it is enough for Kieran to understand that the way that it's laid out and what it looks like it's the grounds of a university. It looks like school buildings and a library hall and dormitories and like a mess hall type space and things like this. It's laid out very much like the way that a school or university would have been laid out in a high to do area. Lucky and Andalus at a much higher roll. As you guys are traveling down and kind of winding on this cobble brick down further into the valley, passing by trees and gardens and entrances to like fountained courtyards and things, you start to notice that there are creatures moving among some of the garden paths as you kind of walk through. You'll just catch sight of like a crystalline structure that kind of hulks through for a moment and then stops. And then you see like tree branches being pruned and things. And why it's hard for other people to see is that what these are completely translucent glass constructs. And they're moving around and they are like pruning trees or planting garden beds or weeding or all kinds of things. You also see a couple like animated brooms or things that are going around sweeping garden paths, or shears that are trimming hedges that the constructs can't get to or are a little bit things, but there's just animated things moving around. But these translucent constructs are moving, and they're probably about 8 feet tall and seem to be like, when they move in the light the right way, you can kind of see the shimmer of them. But when they stand completely still, they are invisible to the eye.
Do they seem to acknowledge us at all, or are they completely like task
with a 26, what you notice is that kind of like like the way like servants in Bridgerton are meant to be not seen, right? As you get to certain areas, you can tell that they either completely go still, so you can't see them, or they're quickly moving like in a space away from you, so that you are experiencing like this beautifully well-maintained environment, but it's not obvious that it's well-maintained because you're not seeing the things that are doing that maintenance. Yeah.
Right.
But they don't seem like
to
bothered
see.
by you. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They
You
don't-
never want to see the staff.
No. All right. But you all keep traveling through, and you arrive in the kind of the central courtyard space, and these tall, beautiful brick and stone buildings are all around you. All of the roads seem to kind of converge at this point. There's a fountain in the middle, and at the far end of this path, Bonnie, you'll have to abandon the cart because the only way up to the tower structure is a large staircase that rises up to a hilltop. And then the tower is built on the top of that hill and stretches for all of you to see like far into the sky. So tall that you can't see the massive gym rotating at the top, other than you can kind of see like the edges of the circles that are orbiting around it. But it's this massive tower structure that now gleams in front of you within the sunlight. But you're at the center of the university campus. What?
Like a parking spot, or like?
I mean, you haven't seen anybody else, and this is a large like stone courtyard area here. So there's not like a hitching post or anything like that, but if you needed to tie off the cart or wanted to tie it off, there's like some like fence structures on the edges of the courtyard where you could tie secure the cart to those if you wanted to.
I just don't want the glass golems being like, garbage. Like,
yeah, you're not sure. Like the best thing
I
you
don't
can
think
imagine.
you know that they're there. I didn't.
No.
Yeah, I think that Lucky and Andalus are the only ones that picked up on them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I see them, now that you're like settling down with the cart, I'm like, guys, there are like these things walking around, like big glass things. No one else.
They're constructs. They seem to be the servants.
Lucky, I'm so glad you're here. Can I like kind of watch how they're moving around, and if there's like if I see like how they're performing their task, what might be a good spot for the cart?
Yeah, they so it seems that the constructs are mostly like landscapers. Whereas the pathways seem to be maintained by the animated brooms and hedge clippers and things like that. So you think as long as Bonnie keeps the cart on the cobblestone, it won't be in the way of any of the constructs. But like the animated broom isn't going to be able to move the cart, but it will have to sweep around it. Like the Roomba will get upset and have to change direction. but it is, yeah.
All right. So I inform you.
I'll park on the cobblestones off to the side.
Okay, good. Yep. And the kind of around you, there are three large buildings. One that kind of looks like the entrance to a grand library, one that looks like the entrance to like a classroom building, and then one that looks like the entrance to maybe a cafeteria or something like that. Lucky, the construction of these buildings, now that you're looking at them very closely, are very reminiscent to the couple times that you traveled to the Violet Cloister in Anarvir. Like it looks like almost like if Oxford is the Violet Cloister, it looks like some random like American college was like, we're going to also build Oxford, but it's going to be here. Like they're
You can say Princeton.
They're Princeton, yeah. They're mimicking the construction and style of the Violet Cloister in Anarvir, but they do not have the same regalia here. Like there's no, like the Violet Cloisters, like they have the symbols of the Violet Conclave everywhere, like the banners. Yeah,
everywhere.
There's no branding on this. Like it's like a university that was built but then wasn't opened or whatever. Yeah.
Interesting.
Can we tell how old it is?
It is really difficult to tell age on this because it is so incredibly well taken care of, but Kieran can make an attempt because Kieran is good at determining values of things.
All right. And is that an investigation?
Say it's investigation.
Ye old radiocarbon dating.
Yeah.
He's more like a pawn shop guy.
Oh my gosh! Imagine taking Kieran to one of those like garage like storage places.
Storage Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, storage wars.
26.
26. It's only difficult for Kieran in the sense that like Kieran doesn't like Anarvirian architecture, which I don't know. I know you went to Hightower, but I don't know if Kieran ever traveled to Anarvir. Like it is obvious that this construction is not recent. You probably would be able to say just on like the patina of the copper on some of the buildings and things like small details that Kieran would pay attention to, that it is probably around 250, 300 years old.
Okay.
So for Kieran's perspective, not old, like not an incredibly old construction or building, but this is something that was built a long time ago and has been kept very pristine condition, but also looks like it was never really used.
Gotcha. I will share with the group.
And for Anarvirians or for Illyrians in general, something that was built about 300 years ago, it was like, we built this and then something really crappy happened to the world about 20 years later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, dang it. I hate making connections that I'm like, no, Mark could have made that.
Oh,
Could have never made that. Lucky could have never pieced that.
Amazing. I love
Fine.
that.
Okay.
we miss Marlowe.
Thank you.
Yeah, Robbie.
Should we head towards the tower? We're not getting any younger or
Yeah, I mean,
more beautiful just standing here.
I'll poke my head in the library real quick to see if there are actually books on the shelves.
oh yeah.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
So you walk up, there's kind of like, it's like New York City Library. Like there's like a series of steps and then a flat space. There's a couple statues on the side and then another series of flat steps before another columned entrance to this library. And now that you're like looking at the building, like all of the building's doors are like beautifully, it's like, it looks like a mahogany door in the sense that it has like those like cut ins and bevels and edges and all those things. It is made of solid glass, but it has been like beautifully carved to look kind of like a tall mahogany door. As you approach, Kieran, for the first time, you see one of the constructs. And the only reason you see it is because it moves in front of you and it kind of reaches out and grabs the door handle and then swings it open. And so the door, for those of you that are further distance away, it just seems like the door opens on its own. You kind of feel like this stale rush of air from the interior coming out, like slightly warmer, stagnant air on the inside of the building, kind of rushing out into the more fragrant, fresh spring air of the dome. And you kind of go to the door and look through. Beautiful library, has a massive orrery hanging from the ceiling at the center. There's like circular shelves that wrap around the lower area, study nooks, tables, desks, all beautifully constructed. You can tell now that the ceiling is like glass vaulted so that light is pouring in even in the middle of the day. And everything has there's no coating of dust here, even though like it clearly hasn't been touched or used in so long, but it is well taken care of. And you see a couple like rogue dusters moving across the shelf without anybody moving it. And every single shelf, as far as you can tell, is barren.
Okay.
It is a building that was constructed and then was never used.
That's
Gotcha.
so sad.
Ominous and sad.
This is-
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, extremely creepy.
This was.
I'll rejoin the group.
I can't.
Yeah. Don't worry,
Grabbing the
Jace.
wall. I'm
We'll
like
get there.
feral right now.
Clawing at my cage. The wall's
Yeah.
my cage.
All right. And if anybody walks up to any of the other three major buildings here, you would see a very similar thing. Like the cafeteria hall is like long, beautiful, carved, like family style, but for hundreds of people to sit at tables that stretch into the distance towards a raised dais where like faculty could sit. And there are gorgeous, beautiful glass plates and serving wares and silverware set out as if ready for people to sit and eat upon them. And you can tell that they have never had food touch the plates. The entrance to the dormitory area, it has like a gorgeous like sitting area at the beginning. There's a fireplace where there's fresh wood stacked in the fireplace, but there's no fire going. There is like peeking through windows, you can see dormitory rooms with comfortable desks and bedding, all of the beds freshly made and pressed with beautiful sheets and pillows, but have never been uncreased or ruffled by the movement of students.
Josh, I need to drop off here.
Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a 5 so I can make sure the windows are set up, and I'll cue you in on what happens later in the session, Kieran. And
Great.
Yeah, we'll take 5
Sorry,
minutes.
guys.
Oh no problem.
All right.
Good luck.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
So back in the thing, you guys all kind of reconvene back in the center of the courtyard. There is a fountain here, and it is active. Like there is water pouring out of it. So it's just a gentle sound of water pouring through the fountain. And the crystal tower is ahead of you. You've kind of peered in the other buildings around, but the space is open as the sun, at this point, probably in the sky, is just a little past the crystal tower. And there's just like a cacophony of rainbows shooting off to the other side from it as it's acting as a prism. And so occasionally like the light will hit down into the courtyard, and there'll just be like a wash of like red and orange light that just kind of moves across the courtyard, as it's not like a stationary prism. Like it's almost as if the tower is moving, but it's not. It's just magically shifting the light. So it's doing that.
Bonnie just kind of takes it in for a little bit.
Is there like a little front door to knock on?
Yeah, you guys can make your way up the steps, and you kind of it's many steps. It's probably like 200 steps up, and so by the time you get to the top, to the base of the tower, you are high above, probably 150 feet or so above the courtyard, and you can see like the whole valley splayed out below you. And it's the first time you notice that off to the edges of the valley, near the entrance, you can see what's left of other structures that are made of wood and maybe like animal tarps or things like that. You get the sense that might have been where the Leonin camp was situated when they were here. But you kind of look at the tower itself, and there is a very tall, like 30-foot tall, arched, thin door frame, probably only 10, 15 feet wide, with 2 dual doors, completely glass, just like the rest of the structure. And even though everything is glass, it's kind of that weird, like translucent glass where it looks completely clear, but it has so many like fractals and edges on the interior of it that the vision is completely obscured from the inside. So even though like a light is passing freely through it, but it is garbled and refracted in so many ways that you can't see inside. But as you approach the entrance, the doorway opens, and out of the door, a probably 5.5, 5'8" foot tall woman walks out, except as soon as she hits the light, it is a perfect glass reconstruction of a human. Regal, tall bearing, the clothing made of glass as well, but you can see like a beautiful coat with tailed like hanging bits off of the side of it. And even though it's made of glass, when she moves, it moves like fabric. Hair that is long and kind of comes down just a little bit below the clavicle, but is also glass, but shifts when she moves her head, and facial features, but they are kind of like the image of eyes and nose and mouth. As she approaches, she kind of clasps her hand in front of you, and she says, you hear a voice kind of coming out of them. Welcome to the Valley of the Opal. I'm so happy to have visitors. It has been some time. And she kind of nods and bows her head.
Bonnie's going to return the courtesy and bow deaper.
I'm gonna stand directly behind Bonnie. It's freaking me out.
Okay.
No.
I'll
also bow, observing the custom.
Yeah, I'll do the same. I'll step forward and go, hello. We're a group of explorers from the continent of Illyria. We were just spent some time with the Leonin. They spoke highly of you.
Oh, they spoke highly of the Opal, then. It is such a pleasure to have outsiders here. I am uncertain how you safely made your way onto the continent.
Our ship was shot down, but all of us lived.
So the defensive measures keeping the Veil at bay are still working properly.
Yes.
It's
working
one way to
quite
put it,
well.
Sure.
Was that, Bonnie?
They are.
That's one way to put it, sure.
Yes. And traversing through the Veil, very safe on all of your parts.
I'm sorry, are you The veil has been lifted.
Surely you jest.
No, it's gone.
But
Caiaphas was defeated. He consumed Bellinor, and he was defeated by a group of adventurers in Illyria.
The Opal would not maintain the protections on High Wall if she was aware that such a thing had occurred. You must be mistaken, of course.
Wish there was a way to share my memory with you, but we are speaking the truth. It's been 10 years.
Oh, well, there are ways to share one's memory with someone as powerful as the Opal. And she kind of reaches up and touches, and you see that the only part of her that is not glass is this just gemstone in the center of her forehead. And she touches it for a moment, and you just hear this like peal of sound, like a welcoming sound of joyful music kind of plays for a moment, and it catches in the construction of the tower and seems to ring up the tower. And it's almost like the whole valley then gets filled with this welcoming, joyful music. And then she turns and says, well, it is a beautiful day outside, but I assume that you did not travel all this way just to stand upon the doorstep. So please, this way. And she kind of turns, and you all watch this completely glass figure, but her dress kind of swishes around her as she moves. She kind of tucks her arms into the glass folds of her coat or her over frock. And then she guides into the tower, and all of you now see two constructs holding the doors open, but standing completely still. But as they move, you can kind of see them. And she ushers you into the tower if you all follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm standing directly behind Bonnie.
Okay.
Like, but to putting Bonnie between me and her.
Yes. And you enter in, and immediately you understand without having to argue with the fact that your senses are lying to you, that the interior of this tower is different than it should be. The tower, while impossibly tall, was not incredibly massive at its base. Like, it was probably only 200 feet wide or so. But the entrance that you're coming into now belies an expansive mansion space that would take up acres and acres of land, and impossibly tall ceilings going off into many different directions. And everything in here is a beautiful mixtures of different types of glass. There's a white milky glass on the floor. There are onyx glass railings on the staircases that rise up into various different places. There are glass crystalline chandeliers that are giving off a beautiful, warm, vibrant light everywhere. It is a wizard's tower, and it is much larger on the inside than it seems to be on the outside. And you don't get any sense that like this building stretches high up into the air. Like it seems to be like a I don't know, like Versailles, like not an incredibly tall structure, but spread out. Like there are pathways and hallways that head off in many different directions. But the glass individual moves forward with you into the hallway, her glass feet tinking against the floor as your boots also tink along the glass floor. And then as you enter into the main foyer, at the center of the foyer, there's a tall statue of a woman made of glass, but very similar in appearance to this glass construct. But this is a statue of a woman. There are banners hanging on the ceiling that are iridescent in color as the fabric travels down, almost like shimmering between many different shades of color as they move, with a symbol at the center that Lucky would recognize as being very similar to the symbol that the Violet Conclave uses as its symbol, but slightly shifted or changed.
Copy my homework, but change it a little
it's just
bit.
slightly different. And the tinking sound kind of comes as as this individual says, "Yes, this is the grand foyer of the Opal's sanctum. Very few have set foot here in quite some time. It has been almost, what I would say, 200 years or so since I think the Leonin, as you mentioned, set foot here to request savior from the veil. But it is so joyful to have someone present here." And as she says that, you hear a voice from like a second floor balcony that just says, "Send them away, get them the fuck out of here." And it's the exact same voice, just like angry from like up in the atmosphere. And she, the one on the ground floor with you, turns. It says, "No, we will be kind to guests. Remember, we have the core of hospitality. We will welcome those travelers here as welcome to any place." The other one says, "They smell funny. Get them out of here." And they're just having this kind of yelling match from one to the other. If you all look and turn on the second floor balcony, you see an exact copy of the person standing in front of you, but standing there kind of yelling over the railing in your direction. And then finally, the one at the top turns and walks away, kind of her feet angrily tapping along the upper balcony as she moves off into the distance.
Can I turn to the one that's still here and go, I'm so sorry we didn't ask before. Do you have a name?
Oh, yes. It is a little difficult to describe. You may call me Indira, but I am not Indira.
Okay.
The best way I could potentially describe to you is I am, what number was I? Indira 3, perhaps.
And you all are called by Indira?
In Indira, yes. There is, of course, Indira Prime, the Opal.
Ah. Yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. I think not even a roll required. Lucky knows enough about the magics of the world and what wizards are capable of that this is very, very clearly a simulacrum.
Yes.
And you get the sense there are probably several of them walking around. The part that makes it interesting to you is that usually simulacrum just appear like almost like clones of the original. They have the gem in the center, but these and are typically made of snow. But these simulacrum are like Emma Frost in glass form constructs of Indira. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what is it? I mean, again, Lucky may not know this. Is it common for simulacrums to have completely different personalities?
That'll require an Arcana check or a history check because it might have been something you read about. Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same thing for me. So, I don't think you're good. What do we think? Just a symbol means. What do we think?
On a die, that's usually a natural 20. The symbol's usually a natural 20.
See if you find a 1. Make sure there's
if there
somewhere.
Right. That's
usually the symbol's going to be the good thing.
Yeah, usually.
Okay, there's a 1. Yeah, so that's a natural.
Yay,
natural 20. Fantastic.
23.
23. So no. Typically, simulacrum tend to have the same personality characteristics of their creator. They're basically like, there is a higher level spell that wizards can do where they can literally clone themselves, but this is like a slightly lower version. And they just have the same type of personality. So to have like this one that is very like joyful and welcoming, and then this other that is just angry, that is weird.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Noted.
Yeah. I deeply apologize for Indira Four's unwelcoming environment. That is not the typical of the tower here. We tend to be, we haven't a lot of experience, but welcoming of guests.
How many of you are there?
Oh, there is Indira Prime, of course, the Opal. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
That's very impressive.
Oh, it's almost like the colors of the rainbow, you might say.
That's lovely.
Makes a lot of sense, given the structure that we're in.
Yes, the beautiful glass structure. I will, of course, allow Indira, the Opal, to explain anything that you may ask about the magical constructs in this building. It would be unworthy of one such as myself to explain the fine workings of such a powerful wizard.
Well, I'm sure you could do a good job, but thank you.
Oh, I absolutely could.
Is Indira Prime here with us? Is Indira Prime available?
Oh, yes, I'm taking you in that direction now. If that is your intention, I think greeting guests should be left to the host of the house.
Bonnie's kind of looking at the stairs.
Yeah.
And these beings that I'm sure do not tire.
No. So as she kind of turns and begins to move, she guides you towards like a tall staircase, and there are like carpet runners running down the staircase, so that you're not slipping on glass as you move up. And then you are passing under those banners. And the name Opal really kind of rings when you see the banners, because like the way that Opal like shifts and moves when the light hits it, and it's almost like you can't tell the depth of an opal because of the way that light passes through its translucentness. Like the banners are the same way. Like as the light passes through them, they're shifting and changing in those colors. And you then you get up to the second floor and you see like the angry one is gone, but like just sitting in the corner, like another doorway is in front of you, and just sitting off to the side, you see another one of them, very like exactly the same in all ways, except like sitting there with hair like dripping in front of their face and hiding their face a little bit. Indira 3, who are you bringing up here now? And Data says, these are guests. We have to be welcoming to guests. And the one sitting there goes, ugh, why do we have to be welcoming to guests? They make such loud noises. You can just, I guess that doesn't matter. And you can go on in, I suppose. And waves a hand and the door just opens, like slowly, like not dramatically, but just like slowly opens. Make sure you wipe your feet. I don't want to have the constructs clean up after you, please. As you walk by this third Indira that you've seen.
I'm going to look at Indira 3 and I'm going to go 6.
Oh, no, that is 5, I believe. 5. And the one that she kind of looks towards goes, I don't care.
She's got younger sibling energy.
Oh, yes, not the youngest, but definitely a further reiteration, and then walks through the door, and you enter into what can be determined like as a central hall, a large circular structured chamber. This where now like you've left behind what looks just like a fancy mansion, and now this looks like a tower, except it seems like the entire tower structure is just hollow all the way up as far as you can see, like impossibly far, like disappearing, like meeting lines to infinity, tall tower structure. So tall that the light seems to fade as you go higher, and it almost seems as if like the tower leaves the atmosphere and there's just starlight and space on the upper reaches, as like little pinpricks of starlight seems to be shining through at the top. There is a tall central dais here, and on that dais there is a tall throne. And from that throne, there are innumerable prisms jutting out of it in multiple spaces, and the light is hitting in this chamber in such a way that webs of rainbowed light are shooting out of the prisms and seem to be shooting out into the walls and then disappearing off into like space and like intermixing with the space. Ravik, you immediately recognize it as the throne structure in your dream that you saw, like that empty throne structure where you were standing up on the dais, and this is the chamber that was filling with water in your vision on Mount Makta.
Can I ask, this chamber, what is it usually used for? Who usually resides in this area?
Oh, that is, and she kind of addresses to the top of the dais. Indira usually does her thinking here at the backside, and she kind of points beyond the dais, like to a balcony on the second floor. There's a doorway there. Her study and private quarters are beyond there. But if she is welcoming guests, this would be where she does that.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for informing me.
Yes, absolutely. And she kind of looks up to the dais. She is not present right now. It was Indira 2's responsibility to go grab her as I grabbed the guests. Indira. Indira 2? And you just hear like, I tried, like coming from somewhere further. And you see another like Indira walking down the steps of the dais. And she goes, I told her that there were guests here and that we needed to tell them and greet them, and that it was our responsibility to treat them well. And she said to come back later. And Indira, the one's been with you, says, that is not like hair. Hold on 1 second. And she touches the gem and her eyes immediately go like reflecting rainbow in color. And you can tell that she's like casting a spell. And then she kind of comes at it for a second and says, 1 moment, please. Do not mean to be rude. Make yourself comfortable. And she waves a hand and like 6 cushioned armchairs like pull up close to the lower portions of the dais. And immediately like a teapot lands in the center with steaming tea coming out of it and 6 cups on the tabletop. And the teapot itself goes and begins to pour tea. Do you eat?
Well, I certainly do.
You
Most of us, yes.
Most. Okay. Well, then, and she waves a hand and you just see like create food. This beautiful smorgasbord of small like sandwiches and cookies just appears on the table. It would be just 1 moment. I deeply apologize. And she walks away and heads up the dais, and you can see past the throne, like into the chamber beyond, as the one that was like in tears crying just goes, do you need anything else? Or are you comfortable today?
Oh, you're doing just fine, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
I think we are perfectly fine. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Okay, if you do need anything at all, please just shout, and I would become.
I go over to her and I hand her one of the handkerchiefs I've made.
Oh, this is so kind.
Oh no, I didn't mean to make it worse. I could take it back.
I do not cry, so.
It's more me either. It's more like an emotional.
Oh, okay. And she kind of takes it, and you can tell like she stares at it for a moment, like touches the fabric. It wasn't always like these. Oh, thank you. And then she walks away with the kerchief in hand and kind of like over to the corner where she's within earshot, but isn't like right in your business.
I come and sit down with everyone and I'm like, so this is not what I thought.
I know the cucumber sandwiches.
I'm sure they're fine.
For anyone paying attention, Bonnie doesn't have dainty table manners.
Yeah. Like you with popcorn.
Oh no! As you're eating from like a balcony that seems to be like 30 feet or 40 feet high and doesn't like, it's just built into the side of the wall. Like, where is this balcony connected to? Like, what part of the construction or building of this chamber is that random balcony up there, like overlooking this chamber? You just hear, "You better not be getting crumbs on my carpet. Clean it up." And like the same angry voice is coming from up the area up there.
Got it. I like Angelus gets on the floor and makes sure there's no crumbs.
Yeah, go ahead. I saw you, Atwood, about to say something.
This just takes me right back to when we had like 5 teenagers in the house at the same time.
5?
Which was like a decade and a half.
Whoa.
Wow.
Is that how long it takes them to grow?
Most of them, yeah.
And then what?
It depends. We adopted a few. They were like 8 years old, so it took them less time. Adoption's just a whole kettle of worms.
Right. As you all kind of are eating there for a moment, finally you hear the sound of approaching footsteps and coming down the staircase, like clapping hands together. I have joyful news. Indira will be joining you. Just briefly for a moment, if you will, did you all get everything that you would like from the food and the drink? Good. She waves a hand and it all vanishes and the chairs like shift back to their edges. And then she guides you up the stairs to the dais. And as you are reaching the top of the dais, a figure is walking out of the doorway behind, is walking around the throne and comes and sits on the throne. And for the first time, you see Indira the Opal. She has dark tan skin, a beautiful like black and silver, but with this like iridescent quality to it, cloak that has gathered sleeves that droop down, but then is cinched around the waist and then kind of goes into a coat. Pants rather than a dress, but like the coat has like a little bit of elements of, it's kind of like a dressy coat that goes around her pants. High boots. Her hair is just white that is iridescent in the light. So occasionally we'll be catching like the purple and the yellow from the light, and the purple, like the purple and green and the yellow from the light as it courses through straight on her, kind of down to above the clavicle, banged cut, wearing, has beautiful like white makeup and tattooing markings on the face, and beautiful piercing like amber brown eyes, and she kind of comes up and kind of moves her coat out of the way and sits on the throne for a moment and says, thank you, Indira 3, that is fine. Welcome to the Tower of the Opal. I am Indira.
Thank you so much for having us in this lovely reception. We really appreciate it. And I'll do the bow and curtsy.
And I do not mean to be rude, but time is, of course, a valuable resource. What brings you to my tower?
We are explorers from the land of Illyria. We arrived here after the fall of the Veil.
She kind of looks at you for a moment. The veil has not fallen. High wall is not safe. You are outsiders from somewhere, yes?
I really want to insight check if she believes that statement or if she knows that.
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
a lie.
You can insight. Mm-hmm.
I don't
I'm
pretend.
gonna use my opal dice against her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woman.
I broke out the glass dice just for anything that happens within the
No.
valley.
Incredible. I love that.
I'm gonna use my inspiration because I didn't like that roll.
I don't pretend to be knowledgeable in all ways of the world, but it certainly appears to me and everyone I know that the veil is vanished.
What'd you get?
27.
27. Yeah, is this worthy of a whisper?
Ooh.
Do it if you want to.
Saucy.
Oh, he's picking up that phone. Oh, he's doing it.
I
I saw it.
Be right back for all of you. As I send a whisper, it'll take just a moment.
Okay. Oh, how about the I don't know, man. I was trying to reference the sports game. I don't even. What is it? Football
Yeah.
season?
It's the playoffs.
How about them
Yep.
cattle hands?
It is the playoffs.
Some cattle hands.
Also, this is the first place Andulis hasn't liked. Very fun. Feels like being jury again.
Oh no.
This is your town. This is Jury's town. The one place Induasite doesn't like.
No, jury made his own town, remember?
That's true.
All right.
Jury
If you
made
can't find your
his own.
city, build your own city.
Yeah, it's in the
Exactly.
Discord for you, Lucky.
All right.
By the way, Josh, what are you
Forget how
drinking?
Tea,
I do that.
Okay.
Mm.
not a giant mason jar of bourbon.
I was like, the new administration is getting you too. I see.
Yes, it's like, yeah, this is just my daily bourbon.
Not a dang word about it. I can't.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Everybody, be quiet for 20 seconds, please. Okay. I am going to just kind of step forward and be like, I can show you my memories of it. I witnessed the demise of Caiaphas at Vale Fall 10 years ago now.
And you hear like the voice of the Opal or Indira 3 behind you go, wouldn't that just be amazing, Indira? And Indira says, well, we will see. And she lifts up a hand and you all see she's grasping in her hand a wand, but it is made of pure glass and it is like a prism. And she kind of holds it up in the air and points. And you see gathering above her, this orb of glass forms in the air and then just kind of sits there for a second. And then you see other glass orbs form in the air around it and start to rotate like an orrery of the planets that she's kind of summoning into space. Well, since you offered then, and she points and casts a spell on you, I will ask if you would like to have the saving throw if you allow it to pass.
Nope.
Okay.
I offered.
And you see like a prismatic spray of light shoots out of the end of this wand. It hits you, and all of you see suddenly like streams of light coming out of Lucky's brain and like kind of pulling around in multiple different directions. And then the Opal drops them with her hand into those orbs hanging above her one at a time. And you all just watch as like a red memory, an orange memory, a yellow memory, a green, like these different memories. And then the central, like larger sphere, the sun, begins to kind of rotate as the red light feeds into it and the orange, and they all begin to feed in until that memory turns bright white and glowing like a warm sun in the sky. And then she says, well, then let us see it, shall we? And she snaps a finger. Lucky. Absent anything that the Opal would determine as a personal memory, because that's not what she's looking for here.
Yeah.
Describe what you were showing her.
So I want to show her the vision I have of the really like blurry kind of memory, because it was so chaotic, I think, in that moment, of this wild and chaotic group of people coming in and demanding that we evacuate the temple. And then leaving and pulling out of the city and kind of pulling back into some of those like hills further back, outside, like right outside of Annabrew proper, and watching as there's that form of Caiaphas that rises up, and then before he falls, and the memories that Lucky has from that moment and thereafter of the places where the veil was no longer being there at all.
She, as this memory plays out in the globe, you're all watching it. So for those of you who had not seen that moment, you're seeing the death of the Caiaphas and like the what happened in Anarvir that day. You're getting a sense of Lucky's, like an element of Lucky's story from a first person perspective. And then the Opal like points to one of the distant globes, like a moon or whatever, and plucks it down and pulls it in front of her. And then she holds it up and the globe grows, and you just see it's like a vision from Lucky's perspective of approaching the valley and like walking through the valley and then passing through the dome. Why? And for a moment you see she's almost like she's fighting. Like there's an interior element that she seems to be fighting against. Why would I not know that the shadow had faded? There
Can I
is.
step forward
Yeah.
and reach a hand out to her in this moment?
Yeah, she's very like focused on interior, so like she's not paying. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like grab her hand because I don't know her like that, but I will like reach out and like very clearly like make a move to be like, hey, buddy, take my hand. And I will say, Indira, please look at me.
She's kind of focused in this loss for a moment, and you see that she kind of finally looks up and looks in your eyes.
I don't know what exactly has clouded your vision, the veil falling. I think you know that you are not whole right now.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you feel this like pulse of magic come off of her for a moment, and she grabs. I do not have a moment of time. I'm sorry. Thank you. My name is Indira. I am the Opal. I was supposed to be the headmistress of the Opal Academy here, founded by Persephone Highwind. I am broken and shattered, but I see you. And she finally looks at Andalus. I see you. A spirit.
Looks down so intently.
I would like to help, but I am broken. My sadness, my joy, my anger, my indifference, these were all, I made a decision to pull them out of myself. They are here within the chamber. I can call them back at any time, but there are 3 that have run from my control. I need your help in putting me back. And then before she can say together, the spell collapses inward and she sits back again. It is not possible. This memory has been modified in some way. I would ask that you leave my chamber. And she waves you away. And the joyful one comes up and is like, well, wonderful news. Indira, should I put them in housing here, or would you like... and Indira says, I do not care. And she stands up and walks back into her chamber. She doesn't care. So presidential suites then. Indira, this is Indira's joy. Guides you through the chamber, and from the balcony up at the top, you just hear, don't put them anywhere near my room, as the Indira's anger in the chamber shouts down at you. You follow Indira out of the chamber, and Indira's indifference is sitting next to the chamber and just says, that was a short meeting. I guess you didn't have anything important to say. And then Indira's sadness is coming up and says, I would make sure that the chamber is completely to your liking. If you need anything at all, please ask. As she walks away, as Indira's joy guides you through the hallways where you met an Indira who seemed to have in her 2 parts and 2 holes, and when just a moment was able to reconnect to her greater power. But if you are wanting Indira's help, you will need to put her back together. And that is where we'll pick up next week.
Oh, cool job! Wow,
I love this.
That's
This is
so
great.
awesome.
That's very cool.
Seems a dangerous thing to split your emotions.
Well, that's not normally what you would do with a simulacrum, but it seems that that's what Indira did.
it's not.
Yeah, and we don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah, something fucked up has happened.
And if you are a Metaphor fan, 1000% Indira is modeled after a certain Metaphor character.
Josh, I thought it was like I
You thought it
told.
was Pixar Inside Out, didn't you?
No,
No.
wait. Shh.
Oh, a deeper cut. Well, go ahead, Jace. You do first, and then I'll say.
No, I'm just trying to what?
Dark
Mine was-
skin, white hair, white makeup.
Brigida.
Brigida,
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yes. Okay.
Josh, I was thinking more. This is so funny. I was thinking of the like Teen Titans cartoon when Raven splits all her personalities and they're
Yeah.
color coded.
Yeah.
I messaged it to Jace, but Jace wasn't a Teen Titans bisexual, so I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Literally, I didn't watch Teen Titans, not very bisexual of me.
Which is, I understand.
No.
I understand.
No, I love it. And
Yeah, but
Dira's
you
like,
called it right before Josh said that to me. You were like, she split all
Yep.
her emotions.
Yep.
And I was like,
yeah. So you've met Indira's sadness, joy, anger, and indifference. And Joy's the most like willing to work with you, probably.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And we'll let you know like what are the other three emotions and where they're located. But to kind of pull them all back together. And you get like the sense that as long as they're within the tower or within that chamber, Indira is able to pull on their energies and reconnect with them. So it's just a matter of getting them back into that chamber.
sure. Cool.
I love
I
it.
dig it. It's so good.
All right. Well, but we'll pick up there.
Also,
Oh yeah,
she name dropped at us.
she did.
Oh.
Because the
No, we know a Persephone.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, we don't, but we know.
we
as play, yeah, you guys
We
know
know.
Persephone Mistweaver. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Oh.
So
God,
you-
no wonder she cut off all her emotions, dude. She was cut off from everyone she fucking knew for this like huge project that never could come.
yeah, it's like
Wow.
you're sent to like another continent to establish a school, and then the moment you arrived, all hell broke loose. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she didn't know anyone here.
Yep.
Oh, that's so tragic.
I love to think that so Bonnie saw the memory, right?
Yeah, we all saw it.
yeah, everyone saw the memory that was in the globe. Yeah,
Yeah, you all saw the ticket takers. They were
Yeah.
I saw the ticket takers run in and be like, "You got to get out of this temple," and everyone was like, "What?"
I love to think that Bonnie doesn't know who they are because Bonnie's only seen the stage play version and they look nothing like the.
Yeah.
Oh my
Real
god,
life
that's
person.
so funny.
Like, I don't know who those people were.
That's so fucking funny. I love that.
yeah. Ravik would recognize them, but yeah. Mm-mm.
Yep, that's true. He's like, oh god, what did they do? What did these idiots do?
No, Kaimana's tiny. That's not Kaimana.
Is Kaimonic big in the stage play?
Oh,
He's
Kaimana's-
big in the stage play.
Kaimana's played by like
I guess there aren't a lot of.
something like they couldn't get a.
Well, no, I
Lutrinian
guess.
play.
Well, I guess all the Lutrinians are like normal size. They get to play him. So
No, it's like even if they got a Lutrinian, it would be bigger than
Yeah.
Kaimana.
yeah.
yeah.
That's there's a puppet. Wait, he's played by a puppet. Wait. The meta of Kaimana being played by a puppet is so good.
We need to have a session where we just like we talk about
We should play the theatrical version. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh my
theatrical.
God.
Oops, all
That would be
bards.
so funny.
We should all be actors playing the ticket takers.
Yeah, exactly. We should
Yes, and
actors playing the
something
ticket
happens
takers.
None of us play
on
our
an
original
adventure
characters.
thing. Well, I don't
None
know.
of
I kind of want to play a fake jury. I have ideas.
Like the most
No,
like
yeah,
We all play the
Yeah.
fake version.
the dramatized version of jury.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, Atwood, no one can roast your own character like you can. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah, you're right.
I think there's a funniness to that. Oh my god.
That would be fun.
incredible idea. I love it.
Oh, I was gonna
It's not
send
really-
this picture.
Hard one
Oh
shot.
yeah. Yes.
But
Yes.
the problem is every time I'm like, I have time to finish up writing that. I'm like, no, I don't. No,
Yeah.
everything's happening all at once.
Oof. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I have a really good outline for it, so I really just need to like finalize a couple of things because it's like a road trip, so it's like there'll be like random rolls for like encounter stuff.
Mhm.
So like that's really
Ooh.
Ooh,
finalized.
I like
Um,
it.
Exciting.
Mhm.
Road trip.
Ooh, I can add Indira to the people that
Oh,
we
yeah.
met.
The
Sheila.
The bangs.
I love
Hi,
her.
Indira.
Mar would have wanted this woman so badly.
No.
It's so true. And you know what? Deserved.
I love her.
Yeah. I was literally grasping when I was grasping the walls. I was like, she would have known the Mistweavers. Like, that's what I was doing. I was like, this bitch totally was like best friends.
Yeah.
If not gay for one of them.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I was
so
like, there's
fun.
no way. I was like clawing at the wall, being like, I want to say this so bad, but like, Lucky would know of Lenaria, probably not even Persephone's name.
Lenaria is all over history books because she was one of the core like champions
and
of the
she's
subversion.
like the head of the thing.
Yeah.
So she would like, she's very known, I feel like, but Persephone probably would have come up.
Persephone only pops up like Persephone is a traveler, and she's like, she travels to other planes of, like, she's goes to all these places and planes and writes about them. So the most that Lucky would probably have encountered with Persephone is bylines in books.
Yeah.
Like the Volo's guide.
She's the like Fizzbands or Volo or whatever, like, of the world, like going around and writing about things. Yeah, but she apparently was established, like, because her sister was in charge of the Violet Conclave and the school, the Violet Cloister, and so it seems like Persephone was like creating a branch of that in an outer
I'm telling
area.
you, these bitches were gay.
Oh.
These bitches were gay. I'm gonna call that from a mile away.
Yeah, and none of you are magical enough that it'll, like, none of you are the type of magic that it matters. But Indira is also like one of my subclasses, so she is not. She's like, her class of wizardry is prism. Cool. It's called prism magic. And so like and so all the glass and everything is like very much like that. Yeah.
Josh, why are you so cool? What the fuck?
I love it.
What the hell? That's so awesome.
Indira. But I can't wait for more Indira.
I can't wait.
She's very endearing.
Oh my god, Outward. I'm gonna drop kick you.
Oh, only some of her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Indira's anger is like,
I love it. I can tell how much fun you're having playing them, and it like makes it like even better. You know what I mean?
Tasty.
And Dulas can't tell if he's comforted by someone who has one emotion, or if it makes him more abilities.
I'm just gonna go hang out with Happy for a bit. Like,
I know.
That's pretty good.
This is like the dark, twisted version of Inside Out.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Oh god, Josh is so good.
Yay. All right, well, we'll explore more of the Valley of the Opal next week. And then I'll see you from there.
All right.
Awesome.
See you all next time.
Bye guys.
Love you.
Love you.